Okay, students, this is the third video for The World and the Turtle's Back, Academic Vocabulary Terms and Concepts for Unit 1, Part 1, Native American Traditions, um, Origins in Encounters. In the last video, I had finished talking to you about myth, what a myth was, and I was moving on to explain the creation myth. First of all, I just want to apologize for the messiness of my notes. I'm not really used to using this bamboo tablet, so try to bear with me. In this video, as I said, I'm going to move on to explain the creation myth and their function to culture, particularly how they relate to Native American culture, the Iroquois Nation, which is a Native American culture within the United States, as this is American literature. Um, well, in the last video, I talked to you about a myth being a traditional story, a cultural story that tries to explain something about the world, whether it be why the Grand Canyon exists, or I don't know, why you won't find certain animals anymore in this part of the country. It tries to explain something. It's a very general type of story, but within that, this whole issue of myths, there's a specific type of myth. It's called the creation myth, and this type of myth, this genre of myth, specifically tries to explain how life, humanity, and the universe began. So let's go ahead and write that down here. Just simply explains how life and sometimes the universe came into existence or came into being. And again, this is a genre, a specific genre of the myth. Okay, how does it apply to the Iroquois culture? This is their creation myth. We're going to be reading The World and the Turtle's Back. That is their creation myth. Yes, they actually believe that that happened, much in the same way that those of us who are Christian and Catholic, we have the story of Adam and Eve, and we believe if you are religious and you believe the Bible, that is the story of Adam and Eve. That is how humanity came into being, how the animals, well, this is the World and the Turtle's Back is their creation myth as well. One thing that you have to know about Native American cultures, which Iroquois are a Native American culture, a lot of them, Native American cultures, many of them pass their stories orally. Okay, which is we call the oral tradition, meaning they didn't write it down. People would tell stories, and that's how one generation would tell their grandchildren, and those grandchildren will tell their grandchildren, and this is how they would keep their stories alive. So yes, you know, if you are Iroquois, you would tell the story of the World on the Turtle's Back in order to let your surviving descendants, so that they would know how you believe you came into being. Okay, so the creation myth, again, its purpose is to explain how life in the universe began, and many cultures have their own creation myths. And as I said, if people who belong to Judeo-Christian background, religious background, it's much in the same way that people believe that Adam and Eve and the story of Adam and Eve came into being. So right now, what I want you guys to do really quickly is take down any notes that you can get out of here, and go ahead and write them down. And then in the next video, we're going to talk about the importance of, when we read creation myths and any story, the importance of cause and effect relationships within moving a story from this happened and the next thing happened and the next thing happened. So go ahead and take this down, guys. Pause the video if you need to.